there's always this debate. What's the right age to start a company? To take the leap? To build something that actually matters? Some say, start young. Others say, wait until you're ready. But most people, they just wait. Let me ask you something. Who told you there's a perfect age to start? 20? 30? When you're hungry? When you have time? When you've got no mortgage and no kids? Really? Let me tell you when I started my first business. 15. Brush in hand. Covered in paint. I had no clue what I was doing, but I did it anyway. And yeah, it worked. Sort of. But now, if I had to start a business today, at 50, I'd do it 10 times smarter, 10 times calmer, and 100 times more effectively. See, we've been sold this myth that startups are for hoodie-wearing 20-somethings living off caffeine and chaos. But the data, it tells a very different story. The average age of a successful founder, 45. That's right. Middle-aged, gray hairs, kids, responsibilities, and still the sharpest mind in the room. Why? Because experience, because mistakes, because you've seen things fall apart and you know what not to do, because you don't chase every shiny thing. You chase what matters. And you finally stop building businesses to prove something. You're building them to make something real. But still, people hesitate. They think, it's too late. I should have started earlier. I missed my moment. But it is not. Your moment is when you start moving. I once spoke with someone. Brilliant guy. He was 55. Had just been let go. Smart, experienced, full of insight. But he sat across from me and said, I think I'm too old to build something new. And I looked him in the eye and said, no, you're just finally old enough to stop building things that don't matter. Because here's what no one tells you. Your value doesn't shrink with age. It compounds. You've built networks. You've managed chaos. You've failed and stood back up. You're not guessing anymore. You're choosing. That's the power of age. And what about risk? People say, but when you're older, you've got more to lose. Exactly. Which means you don't waste time. You make moves that count. Not noise. Not branding and bravado. But real value. Real direction. Now let's flip it. Are younger founders amazing? Of course. Fresh eyes, fearless ideas, wild energy. But guess what? That works even better when it's paired with someone who's walked through fire already. That's what real startup success looks like. Not youth, not age, but range. And if you're sitting there right now thinking, maybe it's too late for me, then listen closely. The only thing late is your belief. You're not behind. You're perfectly positioned for the kind of business that doesn't just disrupt markets, but reshapes meaning. Because this isn't about proving yourself. It's about building something that reflects what you now know to be true. Something that matters. That lasts. That makes someone else's life better. So yeah, the perfect age to start? Now, right now. Because if you've got the fire and a reason that hits you in the gut, it doesn't matter if you're 28 or 58. You're not late. You're ready. Let's go. So, you've decided to start. You've got the idea, the fire, the ambition. You've chosen to stop waiting and start building. Great. Now let me ask you something. What are you spending your time on? Logo? Check. Business plan? Working on it. New website, colors, tagline, SEO? Beautiful. But let me be brutally honest with you. None of that means a damn thing if you haven't sold something. A startup isn't a brand. It's not a font. It's not even your product. A startup is a question. Will someone actually pay for this? And if you don't start there, you might never get there. I've met founders who spent months refining their offer page without talking to a single potential customer. And when I ask, who's your first client? They look at me like I've skipped a step. But no, that is the step. Everything else, nice to have, Let me tell you a story. Guy from Aalsmeer books a mentoring call with me. 5 minutes in, it's clear. No customers. But man, what a beautiful sight. He's tweaking colors, fixing a logo, adjusting page titles, wondering if his content hits the right tone for a target group he hasn't even spoken to. Meanwhile, 0 sales. I get it. It feels productive, it feels safe. But here's the thing. You're not a business until someone gives you money. And yes, you can sell something before you've even built it. You want to open a bakery? Sell gift cards now. 10% discount when you launch. Want to build a coaching platform? Get future coaches to reserve a spot. Sell pre-sale access to your first users. Offer a lifetime deal, and then build the damn thing. That's not risky. That's smart. That's how Apple started. Jobs and Wozniak sold 50 computers before they had the money to build one. They got the order, used that promise to get funding, built it, shipped it. The rest is history. Because money is the best feedback you'll ever get. If people won't pay for it, you don't have a business. You have an expensive hobby. So here's what I recommend. Before you perfect anything, go out and find your first customers, friends, family, their friends' friends. If no one around you wants what you offer, why would strangers? And if they don't have the need, ask if they'd recommend it. If even that feels like a stretch, you've got clarity. Not failure, clarity. Selling early does 3 things. It tells you if your offer works, it teaches you how to talk about it. It builds real momentum. While the others are still rewriting their About page for the 3rd time this week, you've got customers, cash, feedback, and that's a business. So here's the test. If you're calling yourself a founder, but you're spending 90% of your time on visuals, content calendars, copy, and colors, I love you. But you're not building a company, you're decorating a dream. And yeah, I get it. Sales is scary. Rejection hurts. Silence feels awful. But the sooner you face it, the faster you get to build something real. So let this be your mantra. Build with feedback. Sell before polish. Ship before you're ready. Because you can always improve later, but only if you're still in the game. Let's go from startup to something that moves. Because good ideas, they're everywhere. But founders who aren't afraid to sell early, they're the ones who actually ship.